Hi everyone, I'm Charlotte and I'm the founder of Hearts and Hands, which is my youth-led volunteer organization where chapter leaders like you can start local clubs in your area to bring fun activities to senior homes. So if you're watching this video, it's probably because you're interested in starting either a school chapter or a community chapter. So I'm on our website right now and I'm going to go through our chapter toolkit with you so that you can know how to get started. Okay. So, first of all, our mission is bringing joy and enhancing the lives of senior residents by building intergenerational connections at senior homes. So, as a chapter, you will help us spread love to seniors by consistently volunteering at your local assisted living facilities or memory care facilities. So the first thing you want to decide is what type of chapter you're going to start. You can either start a school chapter, meaning that you're going to start a club at your school. Every school is different, so you will have to talk to your office or your counselor at school about how to start a club and how many meetings you should hold. But at meetings with your school chapter, you will decide with your club members when and how often you're going to visit the senior home. For a community chapter, you are not starting a school club. This can just be you and your friends volunteering at your local senior home. Okay, so how it works is you're in charge of leading your chapter as the chapter president, or if you have multiple chapter presidents, you guys will be in charge of planning activities at your local facility or planning visits to the local facility. We provide all the advice and the rules for starting a chapter, but ultimately you are in charge of keeping track that your chapter is staying on progress. So, what you're going to do is spend time with the residents at your local senior home or senior homes if you want to visit multiple. You can host fun activities, play an instrument. My favorite thing is cookie decorating. You can do art, games, whatever you and the residents like to do. And the first step is contacting senior homes. So, if you haven't contacted any local senior homes yet, what you can do is go to Google Maps to find ones that are near you. And then we have a ton of resources for you to call senior homes. Like we have this entire guide to contacting them at the bottom of the Start a Chapter page. We also have a calling facility script that you can make a copy of. It will be linked here and also linked on the Start a Chapter page. And that is super helpful for people who are calling facilities, especially if you are in a big city. Like if you're in New York City, it's pretty common for facilities to be more corporate. And so they may not really know what you're calling for, or they may not have a volunteer program set in. So this calling script should really help you land a volunteering position at a facility. So this is what the calling script looks like. You can just make a copy of it and basically go through the entire thing. It will really help you just reach out to facilities and get started. When you're calling facilities, make sure to have the calling script open so that you can fill out the information that you need while you're calling them, such as you want to get the activity coordinator's name and phone number or email at the facility so that you can contact them in the future when you want to volunteer there. Really, what you're trying to do is call a couple senior homes in your area so that you can find the right one that works for you. There are different levels of memory loss that different facilities specialize in. So, for example, one facility might have residents who have a lower rate of dementia than another might. So, you really want to find a facility that works for you and where the residents are able to engage in fun activities with you. And how you do that is just trial and error, try out different facilities, call different facilities. You can either go in person and talk to them and ask about volunteering. You can call them, but really just talking to them is the best way to reach out. Email usually doesn't work as well. Okay, so once you've called facilities and hopefully by now you have visited at least one facility or you have plans to visit a facility, you can start getting registered as a chapter. So on our website, on the Start Chapter page, and also linked here, you will see our registration form. And how this works is you fill this out, and part of the registration form is actually already getting set up as a chapter. So you'll be setting up your chapter Instagram and all of that. This is not an application form, it is a registration form. So once you register as a chapter, you are committing to being a chapter, but you are not what we call an official chapter. You are still in the process of becoming an official chapter. And I will get into what you need to do to become an official chapter on our website in the next slides. So this is going to be the requirements and benefits for starting a chapter. We do make sure that every single chapter leader follows these requirements, and they're really important so that we know that you are actually doing the work and visiting your local senior home and not just saying that you are on paper. So one is you have to visit the senior home at least once a month. If you want to do more, that's totally great, but we ask that you do it just one time a month. And then after each activity at the senior home, which is each visit, you're going to make sure to post photos of the activity on your chapter Instagram that you'll set up when you're registering. And that way we can see that you are actually visiting the senior home and you're active as a chapter. And then make sure to add us as a collaborator on the post at heartsandhands_nonprofit so that it also posts on our main page. You're also going to fill out a monthly check-in form at the end of each month. This way you can log your hours with us, log your stats, and basically just log your entire chapter's information at the end of each month so that we can see that you're visiting the senior homes. And then another thing is we do have quarterly meetings where chapter presidents can get together and basically just ask us any questions you need or get any support that you need. This is really great just to check in, see how everyone's doing. And then benefits for starting a chapter are, one, you're going to get really great leadership experience. Starting a chapter is just such a great way of putting yourself out there, and learning to engage with elderly residents who have dementia is a really important skill that you'll learn. And it can be difficult at the beginning because, especially if you have not ever volunteered or interacted with residents who have dementia, it might be a little bit confusing at first. You might not know how to deal with a situation where a resident gets confused or says that they want to leave the activity or go home. But this process is basically just learning how to navigate those kind of tough situations and also how to make it super fun and engage with them in a fun way. You can also get letters of rec from the facility if you're staying active. Again, you get what you put in. So if you're volunteering a lot, then you're probably going to get a good relationship with the activity coordinator at that facility, and that can lead to, better things in the future for you for letter of rec. Your chapter will also be featured on our website if you become an official chapter, and I'll get into that later. And also our social media, because you'll be sharing your posts with our main page. And at the end of each year, we have a certificate of completion for you guys. So once you've finished a year as a chapter, we usually issue these out in June. You will receive a certificate of completion, which you can print out, add to your portfolio, put on your college resume. And yeah, this is just really great to prove that you've done the work. You're also going to create really great bonds with the residents at your facility. I know I've made really great friends with the residents at mine, and the members in my school chapter have too. This is just a really great way to branch out and make great relationships with people who you normally wouldn't expect to make great relationships with. Okay, getting in deeper with the requirements. So this is Slack. Slack is an app that we use to communicate with all of our chapters. So it's basically just a server where every single chapter leader is on, and you download this app on your phone. After you fill out that registration form I talked about earlier, we're going to send you an email. It'll look like this. And as you can see here, it'll give you next steps on how to join Slack. Once you get on Slack, please DM me at Charlotte Hendry to tell me that you've joined, and make sure to turn on notifications, because Slack is how we send out monthly check-ins that I talked about earlier. So at the end of every single month on the general page, I'm going to @mention everyone and send out a monthly check-in form that you're going to fill out. Even if you didn't volunteer at the senior home that month, you still have to fill out the check-in form so that we know that you're active on Slack and that you are still an active chapter. If you are unresponsive on Slack, meaning that you're not filling out chapter check-ins, monthly check-ins, then we might terminate your chapter. But that only happens if you are A, not filling out monthly check-ins, and B, not posting on your chapter Instagram, so we don't know if you're visiting the senior home or not. Okay, so more information on monthly check-ins. Like I said, we send these out monthly on Slack. This is where you're going to log your hours for your chapter, so not just for yourself. If you visit the senior home for 1 hour and you bring 5 chapter members, that's 6 people in total. So you're going to log 6 hours on that monthly check-in. So monthly check-ins are just for that month. You log the amount of hours you spent visiting the senior homes, which also includes prep time. So if I'm hosting a cookie decorating party and I spend an hour outside of the senior home gathering all the materials and also going to the store and buying them, I'm going to log that. And also, you can log chapter meeting times at school. So, anytime you host a chapter meeting at school where you and your club members are actively engaging and participating in planning fun activities for the seniors, you can log that as an hour for all of your chapter members and yourself. Not only do you log hours on monthly check ins, you're also going to log the amount of times you visited the senior home or senior homes that month. So, this is just a great way for you to show us that you're doing the work. And also, a great way for you to log the work for yourself for future any resumes or college applications. Okay, so chapter Instagram. How we see your activities is, like I said, through your chapter Instagram. Here's an example of a great looking chapter Instagram. They have a page on Meet the Founders of their own chapter. They have recap posts of pictures of the senior homes. And every time they visit the senior home, they post pictures to show us. And I think this senior home didn't want them to post photos of the seniors, so they used emojis to block out their faces, or you can just post pictures without the seniors' faces. This is great to ask the facility before taking pictures because some of them might have a policy where you can't include the seniors' faces in. Make sure to ask. When you make your Instagram account, you're going to tag us in your bio and then add us as collaborators on every post and just make sure to stay active with posting. Okay, getting into leading your chapter, we have a lot of great activity inspiration ideas. Now, some people ask me, am I supposed to lead the activities myself at the senior home, or does the senior home have activities that I can join in on? My answer is both. So you can start off by just volunteering at the senior home, just getting to know the residents through existing activities that the senior home provides. And that's why when you call the senior home using our calling script, you're going to talk to the activities coordinator and ask them if you can join in on any existing activities that they already have so that you can get to know the residents before you start leading your own activities in the future. So we have this Google Slides, which will give you an activity inspiration idea for every month. This includes Halloween parties, cookie decorating parties, parties for the summer, or also it can be smaller ideas, just like art with the seniors or playing music. Really, every chapter is different and everyone has different ideas of what they like to do. We have some chapters that like to sing, like a choir group, and they go to their local senior home and that's what they do every month. They just sing there. We have some chapters that like to play instruments at the senior home and that's what they do. They just perform. Or if you're someone who likes art and you just want to make art with the seniors. So really, like I said, you're a chapter leader, and so you are in charge of deciding what you're doing with the seniors. Here are just some extra resources. We have a blog on our site. When I started volunteering at my local senior home, I would post these blog posts just talking about my experience, how I handled certain situations, if a resident with dementia was confused. So this is just a great way to understand what it's like volunteering, and it's a great idea to read these blog posts before you go into the senior home. You don't have to, but check it out. And like I said before, we have this guide to calling senior homes. Okay, so planning your chapter, you want to do all the things I said above, but also read our guide at the bottom of the Start a Chapter page. You're going to start volunteering at your local senior home after you called them using our calling script. And then I always say this, summer is the best time to start thinking about your school chapter, because what you want to do is start volunteering on your own at the senior home this summer so that you personally, as a leader, can get to know the residents before you start a school club, before you start bringing in members of your club. You want to get to know the residents and also make sure that you're finding the right facility for your club. You can even try volunteering at more than one senior home to just get some experience, find the one that works for you. I really recommend this because the first one you try out might not always be the right one. Okay, this is for later down the line, but if you do decide that you want to run your own activities instead of maybe joining in on existing ones the senior home has, this is after you've become experienced with volunteering with them, by the way, you might want to think about how you're going to find the money for activity costs. A lot of senior homes have budgets that they spend on activities for the seniors. So you might want to talk to your activity coordinator at the senior home about reimbursement, meaning that if you're going out and you're buying supplies for the seniors, they can reimburse you for the amount that you spent. Just ask for a budget and make sure to stick to it. Not all senior homes will allow you to go out and get supplies and then reimburse you. They might just want you to use whatever supplies they already have. So this is a conversation that you, as a chapter leader, need to have with your senior home after you start volunteering. Okay, so planning your school chapter. If you're starting a club at your school, this is just some advice for how you can get the word out, get some members. You can make flyers, put the word out in the school bulletin through your chapter Instagram. You can start making posts when you start volunteering over the summer, hopefully. Just get some posts up so that people can already know what your chapter is doing before the school year starts. Just tell your friends and remind people on club day when people sign up for your club that they can and will receive volunteer hours for being an active member in your chapter. You can elect a vice president and also give out roles in your chapter. Usually, I say that chapter leaders should be the ones who are handling the chapter Instagram. But if you have a really big chapter and you really want to have leadership roles, this is something to think about. You can have an Instagram manager. Personally, in my chapter, I am the Instagram manager and I also am the chapter president. So really, usually people just handle those things on their own. But if you have a friend who wants to take on those tasks, you can delegate it to them. You can get them to join Slack and just help you out with your chapter. At the end of the year, you will receive this certificate of completion if you were an official chapter. And I'm going to quickly go to our site. So back to our website, if you go to our chapters and you're there. Okay, back to the slideshow. So you'll receive this at the end of the year. And now we're coming to the end of the presentation. Here are just some commonly asked questions I get. The first one is, what happens if you forget to fill out a monthly check-in? So it's really, really important that you are consistently filling these out because it's really simple and it's just one time a month. But if you do happen to miss one, you can make it up. Just DM me on Slack, tell me you missed it, and you can just go back and fill out the form. It's always going to be on the page called #general and log whatever stats that you missed because you forgot. And then another question is, do you have to have volunteers in your community chapter? So while you do have to have volunteers in your school chapter, in a community chapter, it can just be you. It can be you or your friends or your family. Community chapters are usually just people who are volunteering either by themselves or with their friends in their local senior homes. And then, can you volunteer at more than one senior home? Obviously, yes. We welcome that and we love if you're doing that. If you graduate from high school and you want to either get rid of your chapter or pass it down, please talk to me about that on Slack. Just DM me again at Charlotte Hendry, and I will help you talk through that process and what it's going to look like. Definitely stay active on Slack though, and if you have any questions at all, you can always either DM me on Slack if you are on it, or if you're not on it yet because you haven't registered, DM us on Instagram at heartsandhands_nonprofit. I run the account, so I'll be there to answer any questions you have.